Let's get more on one of our main stories this morning. The Duchess of Sussex has flown back to Canada after the announcement that she and Prince Harry are stepping back from their royal duties.
So let's speak to Scott Fee, who's news editor at a local TV station in Victoria. Scott, very good morning to you, and thank you for speaking to us this morning. So we are understanding that Meghan is on her way back to Canada as we speak. What do you know about the movements? Because obviously they were there for a period of time. What can you tell us?
There's a lot of buzz here right now, Charlie. Currently, as we speak, at our international airport here in Victoria, which is much smaller than what you may be used to, of course, at Heathrow, but still a significant airport, there's a lot of media already there. It's an interesting airport because you walk out of the planes, there's no tunnels, there's no gateways. You walk out on the tarmac and then walk into the main terminal there, kind of old school. And right now, along with a couple of our cameras, there are other networks there right now staked out on both sides of the terminal, watching for the private jet side. There has been one jet that landed several hours ago, royal blue in color with a white belly. We're still trying to get the tail number on that. It could have been there for days. It could have been there for 15 minutes. Could have been there for 45. There's a black Range Rover parked next to it. So we are keeping our eye out. There is a lot of buzz for sure.
Scott, let me ask you this. I mean, it immediately begs the question. You're a news editor there. You just said you've got your crews down there. One of the things the royal couple were hoping to get from Canada, if this is a place of refuge for them, was an escape from the media. And by the sounds of what you're describing, it is already turning into something entirely different.
Yeah, and there's no question what's different here for us in particular in Victoria, which has a long legacy, a long connection and warm connection, comfortable connection with the monarch. There is going to be a backlash here. We're already seeing it. We're seeing it on Twitter. We're seeing it in our emails that people want us to leave them alone. So granted, we are going to have to be careful. We have to make sure that we're not stalking, and we are going to have to keep an arm's length here as a local station. But I can tell you all right now, there's media from across the country and around the world, from your country, from across the pond, that are already looking for setting up shop here. They're calling outlets, trying to figure out where they can base themselves. So the tabloids are en route, if not already here. Will we take a more respectful tone with this? We would like to, as best we can, but it is one of the biggest stories that's happening in the world right now. We are going to cover it. But do we see ourselves parked out in their driveway? Probably not.
I mean, this obviously is a decision that all news editors make all the time about how do you judge what the appetite of your viewers, in this case, have for the way you're treating the story. I mean, what is your sense from the people you're speaking to, ordinary people, as it were, as to how they're feeling about the potential move of the couple to your area?
I think they love it. I think that they're proud. I think that they're proud of the idea that the royals would find this a comfortable place for them to be. And like I said, in particular in Victoria, there's a huge connection to the monarch. I think they're embracing it, and I think they're going to want people to leave them alone. I think they're hoping that people will leave them alone. I think we have some responsibility to be a part of the story and to move the story forward as the rest of the world is paying attention to it. But I do think there's a line that certainly for us, again, we're much smaller. We have a population on the whole Vancouver Island of 735,000. So we're a much smaller market than what you're used to and what other people may be used to. So we'll take probably a little more conservative approach to it. But that doesn't mean they're going to be left alone. There were helicopters flying around YVR in Vancouver, waiting for different flights that were coming in from Heathrow, wondering if she was on any of those flights.
Well, just one last thing, Scott. Obviously, they spent quite a bit of time there recently. Yeah. Did it calm down over that period of time? I imagine there was quite a lot of interest. Initially, they got there, but was there some form of calm?
You know what was so interesting, Charlie, about that story, about them being here? The fervor really didn't kick up until after they left. We all saw that picture that Harry put out with the West Coast picture in the background. He was holding Archie in his arms. And that is when the story started coming out. Cafes, restaurants, a hiker that was wandering around in a popular hiking trail that bumped into Meghan. Those stories came out afterwards. People were pretty respectful. We didn't see a lot of pictures. We didn't see a lot of selfies. Those stories started coming out later. And in fact, it was after that Us Weekly in the U.S., People Magazine, tabloids overseas, across the pond, were starting to call and contact those individuals. That's when the buzz started happening. Really, when they were here, it was actually pretty calm.
Scott, interesting hearing your thoughts this morning. Thank you very much. That's Scott Fee, who's news editor at CHEK TV, which is one of the TV networks in Vancouver.